Hey there, Swifties and future Swifties, because we are hoping to convert a few of you. Welcome back to another episode of 40 is the New Swiftie podcast, where a millennial mom and Gen Z daughter spill the tea on all things life and Taylor Swift. I'm your host, Arianne. Today, we're going to be breaking down the lyrics of track 4 from Taylor Swift's album, The Life of a Showgirl, and the title of this track is Father Figure. We do have Lily back for Tea with Gen Z. Yay! She was gone for the last episode. We have her back, and with the holidays just around the corner, we decided to revisit the topic of wish lists. So we'll bring her in here in a bit to just catch up on life and talk a little bit about the upcoming holidays. For now, though, we're going to dig right in with track 4, Father Figure, from Taylor Swift's 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. Before we can dig into the lyrics, I need to take you on a quick trip down memory lane. I need to give you a little bit of Swiftie history here before we can really put this track into context. When Taylor started out her music career, she was around 15 years old, and she was discovered by a man named Scott Borchetta at the famous Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. He was preparing to open his own label company, but it was going to be about another year before he was able to get that accomplished. And he asked Taylor to wait for him. She saw something in him. He saw something in her. She talked it over with her team and decided that Scott was the one she wanted to go with. So she did. She waited a whole year for him to get his record label up and running, Big Machine Records. And she became the first artist that he signed on. Scott was able to guide Taylor and really get her career going right out the bat pretty powerfully. Taylor stayed with Big Machine Records for the creation of her first 6 albums. They were her debut album, which was self titled Taylor Swift, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, and Reputation. Scott was truly like a father figure to Taylor. He was her mentor and her teacher, her coach, her guide. He was there for all the big and small moments as she continued to build out this career. Every time that Taylor got knocked down, Scott was one of the ones who was there to help pick her back up again. I'm sure an opportunity will come for us to dig into more of those specific moments, but for the purpose of this episode, I'm going to keep going with our story. As Taylor's career progressed and grew, she really started to skyrocket to fame and success. Her contract with Big Machine Records was coming up for renewal. At this point, Taylor had figured out how important and valuable owning all of her masters was to her. She asked that that be part of re-signing with Big Machine Records, that they were going to turn over all ownership of her masters for her first 6 albums as part of this new contract. They countered with, well, we'll trade you. For every new record that you produce with us, we will give you the masters to one of your original first 6. That just wasn't good enough for Taylor. That's not what she was looking for. In that moment, she realized that she had probably outgrown Big Machine Records and it was time to move on. She wound up signing with Universal instead. And after she did that, she soon comes to find out that Scott has turned around and sold Big Machine Records along with all of her masters for her first 6 albums to a man named Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun had been a pretty negative influence and presence in Taylor's life and career for quite some time. You can learn more about those exchanges. You just go Google it and you'll see it right away. Again, for the purpose of this episode, I'm not going to dig too much into that, but maybe that can be a topic for another time. That was just like the ultimate betrayal to Taylor. Scott knew that how Taylor felt about Scooter Braun, and she had begged him to please never sell her masters to this one specific person. And that's who he wound up turning around and selling all of her masters to. Taylor really, she spiraled for a little bit at that point. And in regards to those first 6 albums and their masters. She, in her interview recently on her late night interview with Jimmy Fallon, she described having to create this like protective layer of not letting them in, them being those first 6 original records that she had created. Because when she would hear those songs, like she would get these really intrusive thoughts of, you don't own it and you never will. And that would just send her to this really dark place. Over time, she learned how to create this protective wall around her. Now, in the midst of all of that, too, she decided to take her power back and start re recording all of those original albums. So, for those of you who aren't Swifties yet, you will see 2 different versions of Fearless, Speak Now, Red, and 1989 called Taylor's version. And the reason why they're called Taylor's version is because she got all of her original band together and re-recorded the entire album. But what's cool is that she did the she made a real effort to be as true to the original songs and album as she could, but she also introduced vault tracks or extended versions of the songs or just like improved in the song on the songs a little bit here and there. If you were ever confused about why people would reference Taylor's version, that's why. All of her masters got sold to Scooter Braun. She decided to re-record them. And what's amazing is that the media really rallied behind her. As Taylor continued to drop each one of these Taylor's versions, a lot of radio stations decided that they weren't even going to play her original songs anymore. They would only play Taylor's version because then Scooter Braun's company wouldn't benefit financially from the playing of her music. And it's one of the big moments in Taylor's career that makes her stand out as so strategic and but just so strong and inspiring. Every time she gets knocked down, she doesn't just pick herself back up again. It's like she uses that opportunity to level up in a way that no one saw coming. So that gives you a little bit of context and history behind what we're going to talk about now, which is the song Father Figure. In the official release party of A Showgirl, which was in movie theaters October 3rd through the 5th, the weekend that the Life of a Showgirl album dropped. In that movie, they show Taylor giving kind of an explanation and a background to each one of the songs before they played it for us. When she talked about Father Figure, she described it as a story about power. And there are 2 characters. There's this young ingenue, and then there's their mentor. And the story is the way that that relationship can change over time, involve betrayal, but she wanted to bring a lot of like wit and cunning and cleverness to the song as well. She was also inspired by the song Father Figure, which was one of George Michael's big hits in 1987. So she has an interpolation of a line from that song, and she made sure to reach out to George Michael's family and the company that owned the record and include them in that entire process from start to finish, just to be respectful of how important songwriting is. Then she included him, George Michael, as a co-writer on this song so that any proceeds that may come from the playing of that song could go to directly to his foundation versus the company who owns the masters of that song profiting from it. She is a mastermind, and I cannot stop learning about her and studying her. Not because I'm some kind of weird, obsessed fan. It's just so inspiring to have someone like Taylor to look up to, want to know better and understand better so I can learn from her. Even if I never meet her, I have already learned so much from her. My life is truly different because Taylor Swift exists. I imagine there are millions of people in the world who could say that. Okay, I digress. Let's break down the lyrics now of track 4, Father Figure. I do want to provide an explicit warning with this song. She does have clean versions of all these songs, and those were the ones that were played in the movie theater for the official release party of A Showgirl. Sometimes I will quote the explicit versions on this podcast. Other times I will choose to use the clean version. It just depends on what the explicit lyrics are and how comfortable I am saying them and sharing them on this podcast. I will tell you that there's a pretty controversial phrase in the chorus of this song where she says, I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. And she does reference that line a lot. In the clean version, the word is check. That will be the version that I am walking you all through today. But if you want to hear the explicit version, we will link it in the comments below, both the clean and the explicit versions. And then you can just choose to listen to whichever one you would prefer. But we will be reading and sharing the clean lyrics to this particular track today. The song opens, When I found you, you were young, wayward, lost in the cold. Pulled up to you in the jag, turned your rags into gold. The winding road leads to the chateau. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. In those early interviews with Scott and Taylor, he is quoted many, many times saying that he saw so much potential in her immediately and that there were characteristics about her that reminded him of a younger him. And then we go into the chorus. I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my check's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Going back to the line, I drink that brown liquor. So after selling off Big Machine Records, Scott Borchetta started a distillery, and one of the products that comes out of that is Borchetta bourbon. I don't think it's a coincidence that Taylor's choosing to reference brown liquor specifically in this song. Speculation in the Swiftie world is that this song is about her relationship with Scott Borchetta, and I agree 1000%. Now, there are two additional theories in association with this song, and we'll get to those as we get to the bridge of the song. And I'll just share with you what my theory is, the theory that I agree with, and then the other one that a lot of the Swifties are talking about. And I'll let you decide for yourselves which one you think it is. Okay, back to the song. I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. Said they want to see you rise, they don't want you to reign. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I ask for is your loyalty, my dear protege. More references to a mentor taking a protege under his wing, taking care of her, paying the check before it even like hits the table at the restaurant or the bar. Scott really did guide Taylor through the music industry. He did show her a lot of the tricks of the trade early on. All I ask for is your loyalty, my dear protege. So, thinking about as the contract renewal was coming up, I think that Scott and his team just assumed that Taylor would remain loyal to him and his company because of quote unquote everything that he had done for her. So we go back to the chorus. I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my check's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. They'll know your name in the streets. Leave it with me. I protect the family. And then there's this key change that happens right before the bridge. I don't have a well enough trained musical ear to be able to recognize that, but as I have watched videos of those who do, they make a really big deal out of the key change that happens right in the middle of the song here. So there's this key change, and then we go into the bridge. Saw a change in you, my dear boy. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions which led to misguided visions. That to fulfill your dreams, you had to get rid of me. I protect the family. So this is where the theories split into two. The first theory is the second half of this song has been a switch of roles where the protege is turning on the mentor and the power dynamics are starting to shift. The protege has maybe exceeded the mentor in success and is looking to take over the family business and push out the mentor. So this becomes the perspective of that protege as those power dynamics have changed. The second theory is, and this is the one that I believe, is that this entire song is about Scott. So the key change isn't there to demonstrate a change in power dynamics. It's there to demonstrate when that relationship really started to take a turn south. That would be when her contract was up for renewal and she was asking for ownership of her masters as part of her renewal process. And when Scott wasn't willing to cooperate with that, then that kicks into they don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions, which led to misguided visions. That to fulfill your dreams, you had to get rid of me. I protect the family. Theoretically, Scooter Braun wasn't just the highest bidder. Scott also sold to Scooter Braun in retaliation to Taylor for leaving. And so it's easy to think that these lyrics are referencing Taylor leaving Big Machine Records. My personal interpretation is that she is referring to Scott selling off her first six masters to Scooter Braun when he sold Big Machine Records. Let me come back. I was your father figure. We drank that brown liquor. You made a deal with this devil. Turns out my check's bigger. You want to fight? You found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Those I get chills every single flipping time I hear these lyrics. They're just so clever and poignant and poetic, but still so literal and narrative. There's no questioning what she's saying here. You want to fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Again, it's easy to hear these lyrics and think that Taylor is saying, "Listen, I'm in charge now. So if you want to come at me, like your fight's going to be done before you even take your first swing." If you choose to have the same perspective that I do, that she is continuing to sing from Scott's perspective, or her character remains in that mentor role. Can you imagine being a young female rising artist who was discovered by a person who became a father figure, took you under his wing, guided you, promised you that he had your back, that he would always have your best interest at heart. You trusted him implicitly. And then he does something like selling your masters to one of your least favorite humans on the planet. The level of pain and betrayal involved in that alone, then there's a possibility that he is sending a message like this to this young artist who truly thought of him as a father figure. You want to fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. I can't help but believe that somewhere in the midst of that whole process, Mr. Scott was like, you know what? That's fine. You go ahead and do your own thing with Universal Records. I made you. I can break you. Just watch. You'll be sleeping before with the fishes before you know you're drowning. Like I'm going to take you down and it's going to happen so fast that you don't even realize it's happening. Can you imagine like having a person who you considered a father figure saying things like that to you simply because you wanted to further your career in a way that was different from what he was wanting? And really, at the end of the day, I would imagine it came down to money for him. For Taylor, it was about owning her work, owning her artwork, her words, her music videos, the songs, the music that she wrote. It was about owning all of that. And I can only figure that for Scott, it was all about the money. So to have somebody who posed as a father figure turn on you simply because he wanted more profit, it's just so devastating and gut wrenching. Then to have him say things like, "You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you even know you're drowning." It's just evil. So the song goes on. Whose portraits on the mantle? Who covered up your scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card canceled. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me. Leave it with me. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me. I'm sorry. I can understand why Swifties would want that keychain to indicate a power shift in Taylor's favor because we're rooting for her. I can't understand any other perspective except that this is totally Scott saying, I won. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me. Oh, okay. We'll finish up the song and then I've got more thoughts for you. The final lyrics: I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. I don't know if you've ever been in like a gaslighting situation, especially with a type of power dynamic like this with a mentor person. And it doesn't always have to be like a male female situation, it can be a person of the same gender. But when the mentee starts to outgrow the mentor, and the mentor is not a strong enough person to be able to appreciate that and support it, a switch gets flipped. It's not unusual then for the person who used to be in power to try and convince this mentee, this protege, that they cannot be successful without them. Not only that, but if they leave them and quote unquote betray them, they're going to bury them, ruin them, destroy them, block them from ever being able to have any future success. So to finish the song up with the line, I saw potential. I mean, I've been in a few different situations where a person of influence turned on me. Some have been romantic relationships, some have been a mentor mentee situation. To have someone who you admire and look up to say the same words to you that they spoke as a compliment at the beginning, now say it in a way that is of disappointment and defensiveness, as if to say, I saw potential, I was wrong. This year, Taylor announced that she was able to buy back her masters. So, Scooter Braun's company wound up selling her masters to the Shamrock Holdings like financial company. Earlier this year, Taylor announced that they were able to strike a deal. She sent her mom and her brother to do the negotiating and just try to explain to these executives what these masters mean to Taylor. They struck a deal, and she announced earlier this year that she was able to buy those masters back. So she is now in full ownership of every piece of work that she's ever created. She describes what that feeling was like in her interview on the New Heights podcast. I cannot do it justice. It's worth your time to listen. If you haven't already, go look up Taylor's episode of the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey. Watch it all the way through, but at the very least, fast forward to the portion where she's talking about the moment she found out that she got her master's back. It's really powerful. When Taylor wrote this song, I suspect that she had not purchased her master's back yet. I suspect that she wrote this song 100% from the perspective of the protege. She says in her interview with Jimmy Fallon that she relates to the protege in this storyline. Can you imagine being in the shoes of Scott Borchetta, having behaved in this way with someone who truly considered him a father figure? And she turns around and immortalizes it in the form of a song. There's no escaping this. This is never going to go away. This will exist for as long as music technology exists. She laid it out for the whole world to see just how poorly he treated her. But she's so good at explaining the songs and the inspiration in ways that completely avoid any specific names, events, brands. But if you know anything about her story, you know exactly who she's talking about. There's no way that Scott could ever like sue her for writing this song because there's absolutely nothing that he could hold up in court to indicate that this song was about him. But now she has aired his dirty laundry for the whole world to hear. You know what? It serves him right to have treated her this way. She's just so cunning and clever and strategic. So now the song is out there and exists, and she has let the whole world know just how horrible he was to her. I think the song was written before she had bought her masters back. But now that she owns her masters, it's even more powerful because she won. She's not sleeping with the fishes. She's the one with her portrait on the mantle, and this empire belongs to her. Okay, that was kind of heavy. This album, it's so interesting because these songs are described as bangers and they make me so happy and feel so empowered. But then when we break down the lyrics, it always goes so serious. I'm sorry about that, but when I say that I want to convert a few Swifties, I'm not joking and I'm not being cheeky. That is 100% reality. And I want to convert Swifties, not in the bubblegum pop, blindly following a music artist kind of way. I'm looking to convert Swifties to look up to and respect this incredibly diverse, multi-dimensional, influential, strategic, brilliant, successful businesswoman and music artist. Also, the docuseries, The End of an Era, dropped this weekend, and Lily and I are so excited to watch it and unpack it. So if you haven't already, by the time this podcast drops, it will be out. Do yourself a favor. It's worth the time. It's worth the watch. Sit down and watch it and take a box of tissues because I've got a suspicion that we're going to be crying quite a bit. Just knowing Taylor and getting misty-eyed at song lyrics, I suspect that the contents of this docuseries are going to be pretty powerful. So if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, go watch them now, and then let's keep pacing on it because I don't want to wind up giving any spoilers when Lily and I talk about it on the next podcast. But with that, I'm now going to transition into Tea with Gen Z. So let me go get Lily and we'll get started. And action.
Greetings, loved ones.
Welcome back to another episode of Tea with Gen Z. We're so excited to have Lily back. Welcome. We've missed you.
I'm sure you have.
She's been very, very busy. So, last episode of the podcast, we did not get to have Tea with Gen Z. So, I am thrilled to have Lily back. And we're gearing up for Christmas.
Whoop, whoop.
Do you like Christmas, Lily?
Yes and no.
Will you say more about that? Tell me what you do like, and then let's talk about what you don't like.
I mean, obviously, I like presents. I like eating food and I like the anticipation, but sometimes people in our family get very stressed out around the holidays, and I don't like that.
And by people, do you mean me?
And father.
And father. Yes. We have a history of being pretty stressed around the holidays, although I would like to think that it's been better this year. Have you noticed a difference at all?
Yes, except now we've waited until the very last minute to buy any Christmas gifts.
Well, that's not true. We have purchased some Christmas gifts, but you are right. The majority of our shopping does still need to be done.
Have you purchased mine?
We have quite a few gifts for you, actually. You know what that tells me, listeners? That she's actually going to be surprised by her gifts this year.
The Amazon account isn't signed in, so I can't check and see what you bought.
I've also found some treasures while I was out shopping that I'm pretty excited about. So, on that note of Amazon wish lists, we started using Amazon wish lists, what was it, 3, 4 years ago?
Something around there.
When we first started that, I'm not going to lie, like my little mama heart broke a little bit. Millennials, I know you're going to feel this hard. It started out with Sears catalogs and then it progressed into Toys R Us. Lily, have you ever had the magical experience of getting the Toys R Us catalog, which was typically like a 1/4 inch thick, in the mail, and then just going through and circling all the things that you wanted to get for Christmas?
Toys R Us is shut down.
Okay, that's what I thought. 3, 4 years ago, our family was growing. We had adult kids and they were starting to bring significant others into the picture. They were moving away and then moving back. And it was just so much easier to use a digital list to know what people wanted. It may have even been COVID when we started that.
Possibly, I can't remember.
I do have to say that's when our Amazon addiction like really skyrocketed.
I agree.
But I think we could probably say that about the whole world. Thank God for Amazon. I'm just going to say that. Amazon Prime. It was a lifesaver during COVID, and now it's the majority of how we do all of our shopping. So I digress. We switched over to Amazon Wishlist a few years ago, and initially it just made me so sad. Like growing up, I looked forward to the time when I got to enjoy the magic of the gift giving and watching my kiddos do the same thing that I did growing up, circling the catalogs and then knowing exactly what they wanted and being able to take it into the store and reference it. So I knew that I was getting the perfect gift,
Now you can do it with a click of a button.
which is true. I don't even have to leave my house or put on real pants. We like jammies.
You don't leave the house in your pajamas.
That's what I mean. I don't have to take my jammies off because I'm doing all my shopping from the house. So we switched to Amazon Wishlist, and after that first year, I got over it pretty quick. It's fun to log in and see what everybody is choosing, and we can just clickety click.
You can really tell a person's personality based on their Amazon wish list.
I totally agree. So, can we talk about your wish list a little bit? Do you remember what's on your Amazon wish list?
No.
It's been interesting. So I've been helping Lily build her Amazon wish list this year. As the kids get older, it gets a little tougher. Like, would you say it gets tougher to build your wish list?
Yeah.
What are some challenges that you've run into?
Either it's something that I need, but I wouldn't want to get for Christmas. It's like a toiletry that already gets provided to me by you or dad, or it's like really expensive for no reason, or I can't find the right version of it, or it's too cheap. And then it probably isn't high quality.
It's just tough to be a teenager. There's just so many challenges and weird little things like this that people just don't think about, that it's hard to write a Christmas wish list because anything she wants or needs in everyday life we provide for her, and then anything gift wise is typically a little bit larger, more expensive than we would ask from family outside of our household. But she's done a nice job of getting some fun things on the wish list this year. So we've got like a new headband that you put on to put your hair back when you're like washing your face, and some makeup items, very reasonably priced. That's all I can remember right now.
There's not very much on it because I've been having trouble figuring out what to put.
And actually, come to think of it, I think only one person has asked me for your Christmas wish list. And then Bill has this ridiculously absurd but delightful habit of buying everything off my wish list before anybody else can get to it. That poses a challenge in itself, different because I don't have any problem building a wish list, but he buys all the fun things off of it before anybody else gets a chance to.
Sometimes he'll randomly buy stuff off my list from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's something else that's kind of a challenge about these online wish lists. If you don't keep up on them, then you wind up with things that you wanted years ago that are completely irrelevant now.
Agreed.
When we were updating Lily's Amazon wish list for this year, do you remember all the things we had to clear off of it?
No.
It was like smiley face sweatshirts and lots and lots and lots of stickers and like hair accessories. She's 14 now, listeners. She's way too mature for those items. She has moved on and moved up
Sure.
ish.
Ish.
Okay, so when I said, "Hey, Christmas is coming and do you like Christmas?" and you were like, "Yes and no." So we talked quite a bit about what you do like, and then you said, "Okay, mom and dad get stressed out. Is there anything else about the holiday break that you don't look forward to?"
I guess this year I still have a ton of stuff that I have to do over break that I've been putting off. I'm like, I'll do it over break. So now my break isn't really a break and I still have stuff to do.
I am guilty of that habit as well.
My History Day partner and I have to write our entire rough draft of our performance over break and have it done by the first week back.
This is the first I am learning about this.
I learned about it today.
So we'll have to sit down and plan that out. So, what is History Day? Can you share a little bit with our listeners what History Day is? Because they may not all know.
So, History Day is an academically inclined competition where every year there is a different theme, and you can either write an essay, make an exhibit board, do a documentary, or do a performance, which is what I'm doing. You pick a time in history or an event in history that's like more than 70 years old, something like that. There's a time frame that goes along with the theme, and then that's what you base whatever your project type you picked off of. So this year, theme is revolution, reaction, reform, and history. And I'm doing a performance with my friend from school. And our time in history or historical event that we chose is Dr. Cooney's incubators.
And this is the first I've ever heard of this topic. So I'm really excited to see how her project continues to unfold. I've already learned so much from her just in her sharing with me a little bit about the project. Can you tell our listeners, like, just give them a high level explanation of who Dr. Cooney is and what he's famous for?
He brought the ways of caring for premature babies from Europe into America and started doing shows in places like Coney Island using the slogan, "Everyone loves a baby." And he would display the premature babies in incubators, and the money raised from the people coming to see them were used to care for them.
Which is just brilliant. When Lily first said that they did shows, I thought it was like the freak shows with the circus. That they were taking advantage of the premature babies and putting them on display for entertainment purposes, which I mean, they were, but in a sentimental way versus like a exploiting them.
I mean, the parents sent them to him because he was the best.
So I'm really, really looking forward to watching this project play out. How long does the script have to be?
The actual play has to be exactly at or under 5 minutes.
That's not, I mean, it's not terribly long, but you've got some work ahead of you. And well, yeah, we'll have to take a look at our schedules for the break and get that figured out. But I actually did History Day when I was in middle school. So it's been around for a hot minute. You didn't know this?
No. Did you win anything?
I did not win anything. My best friend at the time, Emily, went to nationals.
What did she do?
So we both did a performance, and the theme that year was the memory of a martyr. Do you know what a martyr is?
Can you remind me?
It's a person who dies standing up for their cause. Emily did, I want to say she did Susan B. Anthony. So the woman who went around and like smashed up bars with a hatchet during the Prohibition.
Susan B. Anthony.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about, and she went to jail several times too. And like wrote she wrote letters to people to get her out of jail, but then she would just get sent back to jail.
We'll have to look up who it was, but
Big in Kansas.
yes, she was. She was really big in Kansas. And I think that's part of the reason why Emily did so well is because she chose like local history,
A local history doesn't really matter when you make it to nationals.
not nationals, but I think that's why she did as well as she did locally.
I'm surprised that you didn't. Did you not get to state either?
No, so my topic was Joan of Arc. Yeah. And I had this really weird propensity to lean into religious figures when I had to do reports and performances. I can't really tell you why. I think I just wanted to stand out and be really different. So I chose Joan of Arc and I built a backdrop out of a refrigerator box and painted a mural on it and had a pretty decent costume. I mean, not to brag, but my performance did make my grandmother cry. Like, it was moving to NAMI, but I did not score well at the performance. And I don't remember why. I just remember working so hard on it and being so confident going in and then just bombing it.
It could have been your process paper or your research, because Joan of Arc, that wouldn't have been a subject with very many primary sources. And primary sources are very key to scoring well, so if you didn't have very many of those, it could have not been the performance, it could have been the research.
That is so smart. And that's like a perfect description of how I work. I My working geniuses are invention and galvanizing, which means like rallying people. We just went through working geniuses at work. I can tell you about it another time, but it's just top of mind because we just went through it together as a team yesterday. I love creating, I love ideating, I love expression and excitement. I hate research, paperwork. I don't like any of the more administrative stuff that's behind the scenes. So I bet you're like spot on. I probably absolutely bombed the paper and the research because I didn't care about that part. Nailed the performance, but that's not where the scoring was.
Well, I feel like my partner and I are pretty good in both. So I have a good feeling about our performance. Also, performances have really died off last year. All the performances at state made it to national because there were only 3 performances.
How interesting. What would you say is the most popular genre now?
Definitely exhibit boards. Most competition by far.
Cool. Well, I really look forward to going and seeing all of it and reliving my not so glory days.
Well, people don't like to do performances because they see it as more work, but I think that there's more of an opportunity. Also, like obviously making it farther because there's less competition. And then if we make it to nationals, I feel like maybe if our performance is good enough, we could win something, but that's also like very, very hard. I just want to make it to nationals so that we get to go on the trip.
I really want that for you too. So I look forward to supporting you any way I can in this process.
We're going to do multiple scenes in multiple different eras, which means we need like 3 to 4 costume changes each.
And tell our listeners how much I get to help you with this.
None?
0. I freaking love costuming. Love it. It was my absolute favorite thing to do in theater in high school if I wasn't performing. I still do a head to toe thematic costume almost every year for Halloween. So I will advise and mentor and provide resources, and then the girls can do the work.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So, what else are we doing over the break? How are driving lessons going?
Not good. I don't like driving.
We went to the parking lot to practice. This was the first time, listeners, that I have ever been in the vehicle as a passenger with someone who was learning how to drive, and it was surreal. How would you say I did? How did I come across?
Fine. Did you think I was a bad driver?
No, I didn't think you were a bad driver. I just had no idea what to expect because I'd never had that experience before. And all I had to go off of was scenes from like sitcoms, and those never turn out very well. But she did get to practice in the car that she will be driving when she gets her license. How was that?
Fun. Did you think I did a good job?
I think you did a great job. I was really proud of you. I was impressed. And even when you were struggling, you stayed calm and you were willing to go back and try again, which I'm really proud of you for doing that because I know it can be frustrating and easy to shut down, especially in kind of high stakes situations like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's pretty late. It's 10 o'clock on a school night. We're cozied up on the couch in the basement. Lily went to a play tonight. What was the title of that play?
The Emperor Penguin's New Clothes. I don't think that the play will still be showing when this comes out, but if you did get to go see it, I'm glad you did because it was great and supporting TCT is very good.
Yeah, supporting local theater is always positive, and especially youth theater, where all of the actors, like kids,
Yes, I would say the oldest would be like 14.
and Lily's good friend, who's in Gifted with her, is pretty active with this particular theater. And so this is the second time that you've had the opportunity to go to dress rehearsal, right?
Yes.
What was the first one?
Beetlejuice the musical. It was very good. And it was also like the older teens category, so they were a bit better.
Like more mature.
Musical, so they're different.
And I love that you have such a variety of interests and that you have friends who do different things too. I got to tell you listeners, I knew I wanted to be an involved mom, but what has been such a pleasant surprise is just how many new things I'm getting to experience and learn about, even as a 42-year-old, because Lily's taking me along for the ride. We have yet to mention like a massive Taylor Swift event that's happening this week. So we're recording on Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, December 12th, and Taylor's new docuseries, The End of an Era, is dropping, as well as the fully recorded concert from her very last concert in the Eras Tour, which includes the Tortured Poets Department segment. And we are having a little listening party at our house. I literally took off work for the whole day to prepare. Are you excited?
Yes.
As am I. We're going to wear themed outfits and eat themed food and drink themed drinks and do themed activities. And it's going to be the best day ever. You should calm down. Listeners, I love being a Swiftie, and I'm so grateful that Lily just lets me. If I do embarrass her or annoy her, she doesn't show it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next time we have tea with Gen Z, we are going to give you the lowdown. I think we'll probably just use the whole time giving our feedback and our perspective on the docuseries and the concert and whatever fabulous surprises that Taylor has for us in the next couple of weeks. I'd say that's a wrap. I just want to say we want to say Merry Christmas
Merry Christmas.
and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.